Hello and welcome back to the SKUSavvy YouTube channel, where we are demystifying the complexities of everyday e-commerce order fulfillment and warehouse management. Today we're going to go through transfers and how to move stock from one warehouse or retail location to another. If you haven't already, make sure to get a SKUSavvy account, connect with Shopify, and from there you're going to see all of the warehouses that have come over from Shopify. Or if you're setting this up from scratch, you're going to want to have at least two warehouses to make sure that you can complete a transfer and some inventory on the outbound side. Now, if you don't see transfers under the orders tab, you're going to want to go into the configuration and from here go down to transfers, and we're going to turn this on first of all. The other two settings here are to be able to edit a transfer even after, let's say, the outbound side has been completed. So if you turn this off, there is a little bit more tighter control over when the order can be edited. If you leave this open, the order on either end can be edited either on the outbound side or the inbound side. And the final setting is to enable bulk counting. So on the inbound side, this enables you to count all items on the transfer at once and move them into a bin location. With those two settings enabled, we're going to go into the warehouse, and I'm going to start off at our Savvy warehouse. We're going to go into transfers on the outbound side, and we're going to come up and create a transfer. From here, we're going to select which warehouse we're going to. So I'm going to select my Austin warehouse. I'm going to turn on replenishment suggestions for the transfer, and I'm going to choose to look at items that are only in stock. And I'm actually going to look at our receiving side, the Austin warehouse, to see what they have. A couple of things about this interface. So number one, you can pull down on an item and be able to see what you've got in the warehouse, what it's committed to. By clicking on these, you can see each of the orders, as well as the desired range and current inventory of this item. We can also filter this down by SKU in the search, product type, price, cost, or tags. And if we wanted to, we could create an import for the items and quantities that we want to add to this outbound transfer. Now, as you can see on the items, after I have selected to turn on suggestions, which the suggestions are held on the product inventory for a particular location, I'll link to a guide where you can adjust those, which is going to help us get this value here. And as we can see, this value is being generated based on what our desired ranges of min and max, how fast it's selling, lead time, on-hand committed, and expected inventory values. So when we go ahead and apply the suggestions, SKUSavvy is going to give you an option to either replace, add to an existing quantity, or just skip the suggestions. And for this, I'm going to limit this to the suggestions of the warehouse. So we'll add those. Now, SKUSavvy has gone through all of the items and added a quantity that it thinks we should have on the transfer to meet the demands of the inbound side on this transfer. You can certainly add quantities of other product right directly by entering that in. And as you'll see down below, we have the items that we are adding to this transfer. From here, you can sort, of course, by the column names, be able to make adjustments or remove an item, add notes to the item. And we can see the total, as well as recently ordered items from that warehouse. Now, I am going to clear out these items because I don't want to actually order all of these. And then we'll go ahead and complete the suggestion. Now that I have my quantities entered in, we can see that the order has been assembled. And we're going to go ahead and create this order. And this is going to kick off and create that outbound side since we're in the Savvy warehouse. So let's go ahead and we'll click into, and actually I just want to point out the status here. So processing means the order really hasn't been touched. Checked in, both the outbound and inbound side has been completed. Fulfilled means that the outbound side has been picked. And then partially fulfilled means that, part of the items have been picked and packed. So we're going to go ahead and click into the outbound side from our Savvy warehouse. Now you can jump in back and forth between the inbound side and the outbound side by just clicking on the warehouse name. And we can see here our items that we're going to bring in. So at this point, we could make edits to this transfer order and go ahead and add new items or change the quantities. And down below, you can see here, this is just like any other outbound type of shipment now, where we're going to click in and SKUSavvy is going to show us the current locations that we need to pick from and the items that we need to pick. So I'm going to go through here and pick these. At this time, I'm not using any kind of barcode scanning. However, the barcode scans for transfers are determined based on the scans from your regular pick scanning. So if you have a bin scan and an item scan turned on, that's what SKUSavvy is going to expect during the transfer process. I also want to point out that at this point, we could click on the item and actually edit the order directly from the pick batch itself. So if we actually wanted to get 17 of these, we could click on edit. And now we're going to go ahead and need to pick those extra 2 units. I also want to point out that you do have batch settings here, again, similarly to the outbound order side, where you can influence the routing as well as being able to turn on or off certain types of carriers using your own custom shipping labels, printing out a batch barcode, as well as scan settings and the layout view. So now that we have that all picked, let's go over into the package section, and we can see here the transfer information, and we're just going to go through, tap on each one of these. And I also do want to indicate this, where if we wanted to, we could turn on a confirmation of the item and how many we're scanning. Okay, so we've just packaged this up. It's now ready to ship. If you're shipping with a carrier, your normal carrier rates will show here. Otherwise, we could just mark this manually fulfilled if we're going to do an internal transfer using our own trucks. So I'm going to just mark this manually as fulfilled. And now we can see that this has been picked and packed. And if we go to view the transfer, we'll see that now we have a fulfilled status, meaning it has been picked and packed and is ready to receive on the inbound side. So I'm going to jump over into the inbound side. And as we can see, this has not been checked in. And now we're also in the receiving side of Austin warehouse. As you can see, the order contents are there. And we're now going to just go into check in, mark it as delivered. And this is the receiving interface. So what you're seeing here, again, I'll point out the 3-dot menu. You do have options to show the layout, 3D. Here is where on the inbound side, you would choose which type of scan settings you want to use. I'm going to leave these off for now. And then you can also select what type of label you want to use on the check-in process for your items. So as we go through here and count these, I'll just start counting. And at this point, we can see where this product currently is in the layout. And then we can see that we've counted 5, and now we're just going to select or scan the bin to directly place these items into the bin. If you're using a hardware scanner, all you need to do is just start scanning, right? So if these scan options are turned on, you would just start using the hardware scanner to scan the item, enter the quantity, scan the bin. Now that this item has been checked in, we can also print, and there you can see the item and be able to print that out, stick it on the product. Now, the other option is to count all of these items at one time. So you can see here they've all been counted to what was expected, and we could go ahead and move all of these into a bin location. So for simplicity's sake, I'm going to move all of them into the bin, and we'll go there. And now we've just allocated all of this stock, and it would be ready and available to use. Hopefully that was helpful. As we can see now, the status has updated to checked in. And now you've got both sides of the transfer process underway. If you haven't already, make sure to get a free SKUSavvy account, app.skusavvy.com/register. Be sure to check out our other videos and the guides. Very helpful to get started here. And we look forward to seeing you on the next video.